Art Rooney said something very interesting during the exit interviews. He said the Pittsburgh Steelers may have been lacking confidence going into the playoffs. I'm really surprised that a lot more journalists and media didn't make a big deal about this comment, because when you put that in perspective, what are the reasons that the Steelers would lose confidence going into the playoffs? What could those reasons be? These are professional athletes with egos who are ultra competitive, who would rather literally die than lose, play with broken bones, some of them. And what would cause an individual like this to lose confidence going in to the biggest game of their lives? There's only two things when I really think about it. There's only two things that could make you lose confidence as a player and say, we got no chance to win. In the NFL, it's a quarterback-driven league. And it's also a league that is super specific and specialized, where if you don't have good coaching, you're really screwed. So that tells me that the Pittsburgh Steelers offense and defense and 55-man roster didn't believe in Russell Wilson. They didn't believe they could win with Russell Wilson. And do you really think that Tomlin, being around the team, Art Rooney's always around the team, do you really think that they can't get a vibe from the team, how the team feels going into the playoff game? Of course they can. It's just mind-blowing that, also, before I forget, there was an article, I can't remember her name, she covers the Steelers, she was at practice all week leading up to the playoff game, and she said they all knew, meaning the whole Steelers organization knew the ship was sinking because Russell Wilson was practicing so bad, throwing pick after pick, not being able to throw the ball down the field. And you saw that. Mike Tomlin saw this. He knew this. He knew it was affecting the team's confidence, yet he still started. He was still the starting quarterback going into the game against the Ravens. Now, fine. If you want to leave him as the starter, that's fine. But when you only have 40 total yards of offense in the first half, and you don't ever say to yourself, let me put Justin Fields in and let's see what happens. I think if Mike Tomlin propels Justin Fields into the starting lineup after Russell Wilson struggled in the playoff game, you would have got a much better effort and fight from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I'm not making excuses for the team, especially the defense, and especially Patrick Queen. He committed the cardinal sin. I showed the tape with Belichick pointing it out. He wanted nothing to do with tackling Derrick Henry. That is unacceptable. I don't care how bad your team is. I don't care if you think you have no chance to win. You don't ever pull a stunt like that. Ever. It's unacceptable. So I'm not giving the team an excuse for their poor effort and lack of physicality. That's not what I'm doing at all. I'm trying to point out that this is coming from Art Rooney's mouth. Maybe the team lacked confidence going into the playoffs. May have had some confidence issues going into the playoffs. He knows this. Art Rooney, this is what he's saying. But yet, all this talk about still bringing Russell Wilson back to be the quarterback in 2025, a year older. Watch my videos. Russell Wilson beat the Jets. I made a video the next day. Don't believe the Russell Wilson hype. He's old. As the season wears on, His arm is already shot. His legs are already shot. He's going to fizzle. Don't let him fool you. Justin Fields needs to be left in as the starter. He needs to progress. He needs to work with the same offensive coordinator for once. He needs to have outstanding weapons. Justin Fields has never had one superstar receiver to throw the ball to the entire time with the Chicago Bears. He had 4 offensive coordinators in 4 years. This was the year to develop him. He was playing well before he was benched. So why in God's name are we still, the Steelers and Art Rooney and Mike Tomlin, and these rumors coming out that the Pittsburgh Steelers are still in talks with Russell Wilson to bring him back? I don't even want him back as a backup because he can't throw the ball. It's like being a taxi driver and you can't see. It's the same thing. Sam Darnold needs to be brought in. Justin Fields, if you want to make him the starter, that's fine. Make him the starter. Obviously, there's some things with Sam Darnold. He can't do certain things that Justin Fields can do. But as far as throwing that ball downfield, he could do it with the best of them. You let him fight it out for the job. If Justin Fields is the starter and he fizzles out, you bring in Sam Darnold. He gives you a chance to win games. He gives you a chance to win a playoff game, make it to the Super Bowl. If Justin Fields fails and Russell Wilson is your backup or Skylar Thompson or whoever, you have absolutely no chance to save your season. It's negligence. It's negligence. It's professional negligence. You have to be fully prepared going into the season. Russell, I can't. It's like Art Rooney is saying these things out loud. Our team might have had confidence problems. Well, what would cause that, Art? Your players don't believe in the coaching and the scheme and the game plan, and they don't believe in the quarterback. Those are the only 2 reasons. That's it. You could say, oh, you're assuming a lot of things. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. We're not talking about a regular guy here that's going to play volleyball on the weekend. We're talking about elite caliber athletes who are ultra competitive in everything they do. What would be the only thing to rattle their confidence as a football player? Because it's a team game. The only thing that could rattle their confidence, the 2 things: they don't believe in the coach and they don't believe in the quarterback. Let's jump into this article. Rooney. Steelers may have had some confidence problems entering playoffs. The Pittsburgh Steelers could hardly have entered the postseason in worse morale. They lost their last 4 games of the regular season, only the 3rd playoff team in history to do so. And from there, things went about as well as you might imagine, falling behind 21-0 in the opening round. Considering the Steelers only ended up scoring 14 points of their own, you can extrapolate how they fared. The defense had no answer for the Ravens' potent offense, with a run game that picked up 299 yards. As for the offense, for half of the game, they couldn't get out of their own way. But perhaps it was just a culmination of everything that was coming to a head. It wasn't good enough, let's say that. Steelers president Art Rooney II said of their playoff performance, it wasn't good enough. We were a team that was coming off 4 losses in a row, and we may have had some confidence problems going into that game. I don't know for sure, but it was not a great performance and hard to overcome that, but we will. He knows that. He can't say that because he's trying to shop him around, get the best deal for him. He's not going to say what he really wants to say about George Pickens. But the amazing thing to make out of all of this is he's willing to say that part of it to the media, saying the Steelers had confidence issues. And again, not to be a broken record, but as a football player in a team game, especially as a defender, offensive line, whoever, what would cause you to say we have no chance at winning the game? What would make you think that? There's only 2 reasons: the coach and the quarterback. Because if you believed in the plan, even if you semi believed in the plan, but you had a quarterback like Sam Darnold that could throw the ball 80 yards downfield, or even if you put Justin Fields in at that point, you still got a chance to win the game. And the Steelers players knew no matter what happened, Mike Tomlin was not going to pull Russell Wilson from the game. And their confidence went in the garbage. That's exactly what happened.